Often hear comments from people that will say, "Why didn't you do this? How come you don't do that?" And my favorite thing is to think in my head, "How come you don't do it?" And what you realize is that they will get quiet real quick and they won't do it. And the reason is that it's easy for somebody to say as a spectator, and look at somebody else as doing it, and they'll never do the work. So one of the stories that I think about with this is I was always picked last in sports. I always was when I was 7, 8 years old. I remember being on the school. This was back in the day when they used to actually pick people for teams and sort of assign them. You got to pick as a team leader. I was always the last person. And the irony is, I look back today, and the irony is I'm probably one of the most athletic people out of the entire group, and I was always picked last today. And why is that? What's actually going on here? It's because I actually try. I've worked at it. I keep going. I grow, just like anybody else that wants to make a difference in this world. And I love that idea of this, that many of us that were picked first, that were the best in their field, when they actually go and do something, what will end up happening is that they'll inevitably fail, and then they'll quit. And you'll see this repeatedly over and over and over again. I would prefer to be the person that is the last, that is picked last, because that means you have a lot to grow. And as long as you don't use that moment. So I reflect on this. I'm 43 years old and I still remember this. This is still part of my life. But I think about this as, hey, if I would have let that moment in time define who I was, and it became who I was inside going forward, I'd forever think of myself as a failure. Instead, I said, screw you to the rest of the world. And I said, hey, I'm going to grow. I'm going to keep going. Yes, I get ailments. I get all sorts of things that will stop me. Yes, I can't run now, so I swim. Yes, from various different ailments, all these things. But do you think I'm going to stop? Do you think I'm going to give up? Do you think that my life is going to be done at this moment? Even when I'm 80 years old, I'm still going to think about many of the different things that I can accomplish and keep pursuing those particular things. And yes, it's exhausting. I get it. But we have one life to live. And that life is going to happen no matter whether you're actually living it or not. And I encourage you to think about this. What are the things that you were last at? What are the things that people made fun of you? What are all those things? Look at all those people that actually watched on the sidelines. And as they watched on the sidelines, you realize that they haven't done anything in their life. And you could sit there and you can check box all those things that everybody says, well, how did you do that? What happened there? What was that? Everything I've set my mind out to, my wife and I have accomplished. And we've done all of those little things. I'm not going to name them, but a lot of people would say that those things are actually impossible to do. And I want you to look at the world around you. Think about those things that you can actually accomplish if you just keep going. I view myself as kind of a farmer type, right? I view myself as looking around and I'm just gonna do it. So you'll see these people that will say that they're experts in this thing and that thing, and that they can do all these kind of things. And then when push comes to shove, they can't do it. They sit there and they would rather talk about it. All these kind of things. I see a lot of academics doing that. I see a lot of regular people doing that. All sorts of folks from all walks of life that would rather talk about it. And when push comes to shove, they can't do it. And I view myself, I'm just gonna get going. I'm gonna saddle up and I'm gonna get going and actually get this thing done. I might not look pretty when I'm doing it. It might never Might never work out the way that I intended it to be, but I'm going to jerry-rig that thing and make sure it actually works in the end. So I want you to think about this. What are the things that you can accomplish in your life that you really want to accomplish? How do you actually get there? Do you believe the story that everybody tells you, that it looks perfect and it looks amazing when it gets done? It doesn't happen like that. You know all of the blemishes and all the mistakes and everything else, and everybody else on the sideline is telling you all these kind of problems with what you're doing, but you get up and you do it anyways. I encourage you to do that. Just get up and do it. Get to work. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. And you know what? If you did that for a decade, you do that for 2 decades, even if you're 70 years old and you do that for 2 more decades, man, you can accomplish a lot in your life. Why not accomplish it? What are you waiting for?